Hello and welcome to the Keys 2022 Sergeant course. Yes, the time has come. It's been many years without an exam, and I hope you are all excited, just like we are, to help you pass this exam. All right, little introduction. I am retired captain. My name is George Mifsud. I've been teaching with the Key probably almost 20 years. I did about 25 years of service with the NYPD. From the rank of PO, detective, sergeant, lieutenant, captain. I worked through many different units on the job. I took my sergeant exam in 2002. I had about 11 years on, or 10 or 11 years on when I took it. I was assigned to narcotics. It was right after 9/11. I studied. I listened to the advice of everybody who was teaching at the Key back then, and I banged my sergeant exam out. I was list number 5, and yes, I'm a little buffy. They gypped me out of a point or two, and I appealed it, and I wound up becoming list number 3 out of about 9,000 people who took the exam. I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this to let you guys and girls know you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. I wasn't the smartest guy in school, but I applied myself, followed directions, and I banged out the exam while working a lot of overtime and right after 9/11. The exams, I hit them perfect. I took the 2002 sergeant exam. I knew I did extremely well. They announced a 2003 lieutenant exam. I was actually studying for lieutenant, still in the rank of police officer. Then I was able to take the lieutenant exam, passed that, took the 2005 captain exam, passed that, got promoted to captain, and then, if you don't know how it goes, captain and above, it's all who you know and if you are a team player, etc. So let's just say that I stopped at captain because I'm very outspoken. No regrets. I had a great time on this job. Okay, I was doing police work up until 10 years, street crime, anti-crime in precincts, and narcotics. Then I said I decided it's time to study. So it's never too late to get in the game. So hopefully you guys and girls will apply yourself and you will bang this test out. Before we actually get into material, I want to give you some test-taking habits that worked for me. So I studied every day, 2 to 3 hours from when the classes start up until exam day. And that worked for me. All my exams, except when it came to studying for captain. Captain, I studied more than 2 to 3 hours a day, and I actually took like 2 months off of work, and that was my worst score. So I think I was applying too much time and I wasn't absorbing the material. For my sergeant exam, 2 to 3 hours every day worked. Lieutenants, 2 to 3 hours every day worked, continuous. So it worked for me for those 2 exams, and I highly suggest you guys and girls do the same thing. You're gonna hear guys, girls out there saying they're studying 6 to 7 hours. Listen, you could read 6 to 7 hours, but are you really retaining and absorbing the material? Most likely not, okay? Studies actually show that the average human being loses their attention span at about 45, 50 minutes after reading or being in a classroom environment. So that's when you need to give yourself a break. When you're watching this video, when we go live, which we will be going live January 10th, you'll see at class, we give you guys and girls a break about 45, 50 minutes. So I'm going to be sitting up and down. This is different. Usually we are live right from the get-go and our class is recorded. So right now we're recording it just so we can get you guys and girls started before we actually go through live classes. So I need to clarify something that was said in a prior video. The present sergeant, the present sergeant exam, 6540, was established 12/29/2017. Lists are good for 4 years. That would bring the list to December 29th, 21. Give or take a week or 2, okay? Because of COVID, they extended it 1 year. So the list that's out there right now will expire somewhere around the end of 2022. Your exam should be somewhere between July, August, September of 2022. Doesn't matter if they even think about extending it again. There's not enough bodies left on the list. An exam has to be coming, and an announcement will come as soon as the new administration settles in. Hopefully, the old administration will release a finest message, but most likely with the transition and the transition team, they are going to wait till the new administration. There's about 740 names left on the present sergeant list, all right? That's going to go through no time. If you think about, they do anywhere from sometimes 55, the majority, 70, 75, and they even hit 100 in classes of BMOC. So this is nothing, okay? So test is guaranteed to come. Let me give you some more information. This, if you never studied for an exam, you have to treat this like a marathon. I never ran a marathon, but you know what a marathon is. You have to pace yourself. You can't just go out there, blast off, and think you're going to run 26 miles without stopping. No good. You're going to die out. You're going to burn out. Please pace yourself for the remainder of this course. It's a long course. If you pace yourself and you listen to us, you are going to do just fine, all right? It is a long process. So, first thing I want to throw out there, ask yourself, why do you want to get promoted to the rank of sergeant? Whatever that reason is, stick it in the back of your head. It could be because you have a sergeant who rides you and you don't want to be treated like that. So you know what? Become a sergeant, become a lieutenant, become a captain, and you most likely will jump above that sergeant who's been riding you. All right, whatever your reason is, stick it in the back of your head. Keep it there until test day, because you're going to hit some valleys where you're going to feel like this is too much. You got to keep yourself motivated, okay? Whatever your reason is. Here's some reasons why you should get promoted, okay? Financially, whether it's short-term or long-term, you will give yourself a raise. Yes, the unions are going through PERB and there should be a contract settled, who knows, eventually. But my mentality was, I'm not waiting for contracts. I'm going to pass the test. I'm going to get promoted. I'm going to give myself a raise. So when you get promoted, you have an immediate raise, and this all builds into your pension, okay? So just to throw out some numbers, and these are approximate. Top pay police officer salary right now is about 103. This is without holiday. This is without night diff. Obviously without overtime, okay? 103. Top pay sergeant is about 123. That's a raise of 20 grand, a little bit over 20 grand just to get promoted sergeant. Then get promoted lieutenant, you're going to give yourself another raise. Get promoted captain, you're going to give yourself another raise. So financial reasons, definitely why you want to get promoted. Why else? A sense of pride and accomplishment. Walking across that stage is a feeling that you will never, ever forget, okay? I did it, detective, sergeant, lieutenant, captain. I remember it like it was yesterday. Your family will be out there, your friends will be out there in the audience. When they hear your name and you go up there and you shake the police commissioner's hand, it's such a great feeling. You are never, never going to forget it, all right? Sense of accomplishment. Automatic transfer, change of command. You get promoted, you are going to have to go somewhere else. So if you're riding it out in a sector car on a 7.3, 7.5, I'm using that as an example because I spent a lot of time in Brooklyn North, and you want a change of scenery, get promoted. They are going to transfer you to another command, okay? It's good to move around in your command, move around in your career. You don't become stale. What else? The only way to become a chief, an inspector, a DI, a captain, or a lieutenant is to pass this exam. This is not where you want to stop. If that's where you stop, good for you. But you should be thinking this is just a stepping stone for the next exam, lieutenant. Definitely want to be a lieutenant. If you're studying for sergeant, you definitely want to be a lieutenant. And if you want to go higher, that's great. Lieutenant is still the best rank on the job. So please at least strive to be a lieutenant and above, but a lieutenant is where you want to be. Lieutenant's right in the middle. You get some garbage you don't want to handle, hey Sarge, come here. You get some stuff that is above your pay scale, Cap, I got this. Lieutenant's still a great rank, okay? But to become a lieutenant, guess what? You have to pass this sergeant exam, okay? Layer of insulation. As you get promoted and move up the ranks, you are not exposing yourself as much as a cop would in the street. Right now, the last few years, we all know it's not a cop-friendly environment. But you still have a job to do. So get promoted and you won't be exposed as much as the cop does, all right? This one I love. Less people to tell you what to do. 100%. The higher you get promoted and rise in this department, there are less people that are going to tell you what to do. You are going to be telling the people what to do. I'm not going to mention names, but when I got promoted sergeant, I went to PSA 4, and I had a lieutenant who was never a cop. Never a cop, just passed the test, okay? And he would ride me. I'm not going to mention names. He would ride me, and that was my motivation. I'm like, you know what? I'm not listening to this guy's bullshit anymore. Excuse my language. I'm going to get promoted and tell him or her what to do. So that was my motivation to pass the lieutenant's test, and then I went even further. Another important reason why you want to get promoted. Make yourself marketable for the future. When you retire, if you want to do something else, you are going to have a better chance at landing a high-paying job if you leave the NYPD with supervisory background on your resume. Cops, detectives, everybody's a cop and detective, all right? Not everybody, but you know what I mean. Cop and detective going to apply for a job, and you also have a lieutenant who's applying. If they're both neck and neck, they're probably going to pick the lieutenant just because he or she achieved that rank. And the last thing, there's many reasons why you want to get promoted, but you want to be able to provide the best life for you and your family going forward. The higher up you are, the more your pension becomes when you retire, the more your immediate salary becomes. It just makes your quality of life better. So what you guys and girls are about to embark on, this journey, is going to be life-changing. Yes, it will be life-changing as you get promoted. Everything changes. Your quality of life at work is a lot of changes. So please take this serious and apply yourself. Don't just come to class once a week and think you are going to pass the test. Could you pass? Yes, you can, because it's multiple choice, but you want to do it right the first time. That was my mentality. I'm not studying 6-7 months to, I'll get a 70 or 80. No, I'm going to study 6-7 months, and I want to get in the 90s because I know I want to get promoted, be at the top of my class, and maybe I may be able to hit the lieutenant's test right. The way the exams are given, you never know. So please do it right the first time. This time, if this is your first time, let's bang it out together. If this is your second time, let's bang it out together and don't have to do this sergeant exam again, all right? You'll be studying for the next exam, the lieutenant exam. Last thing I want to touch on, and this is not a pension seminar. Tier 3 guys and girls out there. Those anybody hired on or after July 2009. That's going to be a majority of you guys and girls taking this exam. There's a lot of changes compared to Tier 2 members, whether it's regular retirement, accidental disability, which is 3/4, a lot of changes. I'm not going to get into all those changes, but the bottom line is you guys and girls need to get promoted to have that better pension because of all the changes in Tier 3, okay? Some study tips. Today's lesson, week 1, is going to be Patrol Guide 202. We go in numerical order. We start at 202, 203, 204, and go all the way through, the guide. What you need to do is, you need to read the Patrol Guide section prior to coming to class or watching the video. Yes, the Patrol Guide itself. Not no other guide. Because when they write an exam, they are using the Patrol Guide. So you need to understand the verbiage that is used in the Patrol Guide. So read the Patrol Guide section once. So you all should have read 202 prior to this week's lesson. And then you pay attention in class. You follow along the study packet, which is our textbook for you guys and girls. We break down the Patrol Guide, the Admin Guide, the Penal Law, Legal Bureau Bulletins, and then we give you multiple choice questions at the end. Then, next lesson would be 203, General Regs, which is now incorporated into the Admin Guide. So you read that section before coming to class, and then again you pay attention in class, and you follow along with the lesson packets. You got to read the Patrol Guide at least once. So follow that format, and you guys and girls should be fine. So one thing I will also want to mention before we actually get into patrol guide material. If you open your lesson plan to page 7, you're going to see it is procedure 20608, suspension from duty of uniformed members of the service. So there's one procedure that deals with suspending you guys and girls, cops, you are uniformed members, and then there's one that deals with suspending civilians. Just look at the procedure, how it starts. Ranking officer in charge, you go down to step 5, uniformed members of the service. Step 7 goes back to ranking officer in charge. So the left side are your actors, right? So keep following the procedure. You're going to see there's different actors. For your exam, you only need to be reading sergeant and below. So that would be desk officer, patrol supervisor, immediate supervisor, and police officer duties, which we're going to cover in today's class, 202. Don't read any other actors that do not pertain to your test. You are just doing yourself a disservice, wasting time for nothing, okay? And it may confuse you. So go to the last page of this procedure, which is page 9 of the lesson plan, and you are going to see additional data, right? Additional data right here at the end of the procedure. A lot of procedures have this additional data. The additional data, even though if you look, it comes after the last actor is the member's commanding officer, you still need to read the additional data because a lot of times there is important information that will apply to you as a sergeant or a police officer in the additional data. And the guys and girls writing the exam know that a lot of people stop after they see the actor they're studying for and don't look at the end of the procedure. Yes, skip all the actors that are above what you're studying for. That would be lieutenant and above. But peruse to the end of the procedure and see what the additional data has for you. That's when you read the patrol guide. When you read our lesson plans, we are going to have just what you need. No other actors involved, okay? So, should you read the patrol guide? I say yes. Can you pass the exam without reading the patrol guide? 100% you can. There has been many students who passed just by reading our packets. And I'll tell you 2 names off the bat. Sergeant Neil Kasich, he will attest, all he did was read our packets, he passed. Inspector Bobby Rios, who's now the CO of Joint Terrorism Task Force, good friend of mine, we go back way years in narcotics, all he did was read the key packets, and he passed every exam just on the key packets. So yes, you can, but if you really want to bang it out, which that should be your mentality, read the patrol guide prior to that week's class, then come to class, go along with the lesson packet, and do your reviews from the lesson packet, okay? As each class goes on, I will give you guys and girls more and more study tips, habits that worked for me, that may work for you. There's going to be acronyms. There's going to be a lot of stuff we're going to throw at you, and we're throwing it at you so you guys and girls can rock this exam. Together, we're going to bang it out. No doubt. I wish I can guarantee it, but I can't guarantee it because I'm not God. But if you apply yourself and you listen to us from today all the way to exam day and you do what you're supposed to do, you are going to bang this exam out. So let's look at the cover of today's lesson. On the cover, it's always going to tell you what we're covering today and what's going to be covered in the next lesson. So today we are covering Patrol Guide 202 and Admin Guide 303. Really quick on that. The job is revamping the manuals. Patrol Guide, Admin Guide, etc. They are moving procedures from the Patrol Guide into the Admin Guide, vice versa. For a sergeant exam, you never had to study Admin Guide before. But now that they move procedures that were in the Patrol Guide that are very relevant to the rank you're studying for, and it's in the Admin Guide now, you're going to have to study those procedures. And we will tell you what those are. You don't need to open up the whole Admin Guide book and study it from cover to cover. Do not do that. You will drive yourself crazy and just say, I'm done with this. Just study the procedures that we cover in our lesson plan. So our lesson plans have a lot of information. everything's not going to be covered in class. My style is I prioritize and go over what has been tested for years and years and years, and other procedures. You have to prioritize because we give you a lot of material. You guys and girls definitely need to read everything in the packet. So if I skip a procedure or if I tell you go 3 pages ahead for class purposes, skip it. But when you go back home and study, you need to read it. Okay, we give it to you for a reason. So also on the cover, we tell you what is going to be up next. So next lesson, we are covering General Regs, which used to be Patrol Guide 203. It's now Admin Guide 304. And then we tell you the penal law that we're going to cover, assault, and then you have the questions. So here's another study tactic. You're going to get, the majority is going to be Patrol Guide questions. You're going to get some Admin Guide questions. You're going to get some Leo drill questions. You're going to get some grammar questions. You're going to get some penal law questions. You may get some supervision, judgment. We're going to cover it all. My mentality when I took all my exams was I am going to know that Patrol Guide in and out. And I will roll the dice with the penal law. Did it work for me? Yes, it did. All 3 exams. The penal law, you may get 2 to 3 questions. To study the penal law, cover to cover, it's a lot. If you have one of those memories where you can read it and it's in the back of your head, then do it. If not, I will cover the penal law procedures that are very relevant because they appear in the Patrol Guide or new changes to the penal law. We will cover those, but the book, cover to cover, that's a lot and I wouldn't do it. For 2 or 3 questions, I'd rather know I'm going to get 80 to 85 questions right that's coming out of the Patrol Guide and roll the dice with the penal law. Perfect example, on my captain's exam, they asked a penal law question dealing with hazing. If I was studying the penal law, I don't even think I would have studied what hazing is. I never set foot in an actual physical college. I got my degree online, so I don't know what hazing is. And they ask that. So even if I studied most of the penal law, I wouldn't have studied that. So I would have wasted time, more space in my brain dealing with penal law procedures for what? That hazing question? They can have it. But you know what? The Patrol Guide questions that they're throwing at me, every other question, I'm not giving you those questions. I'm going to get those right, okay? So that's my mentality. So look at the first page. We have our mission statement. A lot of this stuff I'm going to skip through because I'm not going to waste your time because I want to get to important stuff. But you guys and girls, read this on your own. Look at the key method. It kind of what I just told you. Read the Patrol Guide procedure once, but only once. Become familiar with its structure, function, and the language throughout the book. Notice who the actor is in the margin, adjacent to the steps, which I kind of covered with that procedure before. Get used to the language and structure of the additional data and the notes. Gain an understanding of subheadings and how they function. Then study the key lesson plan. The Patrol Guide is maintained and updated to serve a specific purpose. It's not a textbook, okay? But that's what we do here. The key method and key lesson plans are all about. We take the department manual, we turn it into a student textbook for you guys and girls, all right? A lot of this other stuff, I want you to read on your own. John Monahan came up with some good test-taking tactics, breaking down questions. Please read them. John's a very, very smart Harvard graduate, all right? Please read it. Let's go to page 15. We are going to get into a little of Patrol Guide now. First procedure, 20201, is police officer. Most likely that's everybody that's looking at this video right now, okay? This is new, and I love what they did. They now made the first procedure 20201, police officer. It used to start with different ranks. It starts now with the lowest rank and works its way up. So for 202 is all about duties and responsibilities of each actor. You, guys and girls, need to know sergeant and below. Do not read anybody else, okay? So they start with police officer 20201. So your assignment, perform duty in uniform as per the roll call or as directed by competent authority. Monitor a portable radio. If your assigned radio is defective, get one from the desk officer. Proceed to your post sector assignment as directed by supervisor. Comply with meal and post relieving points as directed by your CO. Don't leave your poster sector until your meal actually commences, and be back when the meal is over. No travel time. You know, nobody follows that shit, right? Excuse the little vulgar language. You're going to realize watching these videos and coming to my class, I will use some, I don't consider it inappropriate, but in today's day and age with all these snowflakes out there, it may be deemed inappropriate. But you know what? I could care less. I'm retired. Nothing's going to happen to me. The language I use and the examples I use is to benefit you, guys and girls. Because come test day, when you read a question and I use a specific example, you're going to be like, oh shit, he said that. That example is in my head, and you're going to get the test, you're going to get the question right, okay? So with the meal, nobody follows that rule. What happens? You pull up the station out, Central show me 63, right? There's no travel time when it comes to meal. Please don't drop an easy one. All right, regarding your post, be aware of and inspect your postal sector for conditions requiring police attention. Render all necessary police service in your assigned area and as otherwise directed. Familiarize yourself with everyday routine of people residing, doing business, or frequenting your post or sector. Investigate suspicious conditions and circumstances on your post. Give attention to crime hazards. This is all stuff that you guys and girls are supposed to be doing day in and day out. When you're assigned as a steady sector in a neighborhood policing command, you're going to be in uniform and you're going to follow Patrol Guide Procedures 20202, which is coming next, RMP operator, or 20203, which is the recorder, depending on your assignment. Respond to calls for service, participate in community meetings in your assigned sector. Address mutually important conditions in your assigned sector when notified by the NCO. Who's the NCO? Neighborhood Coordination Officer. What rank is that person? A police officer. So this pops out right off the page at me. This is something that I would highlight. You could see, I don't know how good you can see it, but I highlight, I make notes with a red pen when I'm studying, even when I'm preparing to teach this. Anything that I tell you to highlight, please highlight. So here we have, let's read that again. Address mutually important conditions in assigned sector when notified by NCO. So when you as a cop get notified by another cop, this is what you're supposed to do. Normally, we get told what to do from our boss. Sergeant, patrol sergeant, desk officer, lieutenant, platoon commander, whoever that is. Here we have another cop giving us direction. Uncommitted time. I'm going to call it UC time. Something that is new. What's uncommitted time? About 2 hours and 40 minutes or 1/3 of an 8-hour tour to be taken as conditions dictate in one or more blocks of time. So when you're on this time, you're going to go 1075 Charlie for community visits, 75 David for sector conditions. You're going to make a detailed activity log entry to initiate UC time. Now, we have digital activity logs. So I'm not always going to say make a detailed digital activity log entry or make a digital activity log entry. If we say make an activity log entry, you know it's the digital activity log entry. When you're not assigned to calls for service, assist NCOs in implementing strategies to address crime and order maintenance problems within assigned sector. Engage the community, participate in meetings, address conditions, conduct enforcement operations. Be knowledgeable about crime conditions, community issues, and resources in your assigned sector. Obtain sector crime info from precinct crime analysis personnel weekly. Highlight that shit weekly and as needed. Time frames in the patrol guide, very easy to write a test question. So just think about this. None of you have wrote a prior exam. I will neither confirm or deny if I wrote a prior exam. I'm going to leave it at that. Just put yourself in the shoes of the person writing the exam. It's not easy to write questions, but time frames, when you see procedures that have multiple actors, where you have a lot of different choices, those are easy questions for them to formulate. And that's what they are going to do. So let's read that line again. Obtain sector crime info from who? So right there, from who? Precinct crime analysis personnel that can be easily swapped out for a different actor. When? Weekly. Don't let them say daily. Don't let them say bi-weekly or monthly. Okay, weekly. So where you're getting it from and what's the time frame? I would highlight that. Get used to now, as you study, when you see time frames and you see actors, get used to highlighting things like that. Get sector crime info from your precinct crime analysis personnel weekly and as needed. Review reports. Be well versed in patterns and trends in your assigned sector. Last bullet. New. When I say new, it's new from the last exam, which was in 2017. So that's what I mean when I say new. Use the officer self-report form on the Craft app to report achievements in crime prevention, problem solving, community engagement. Next page. Notifications. Report immediately to the patrol supervisor and platoon commander any unusual crime, occurrence, or condition. I yell. I'm hoping that you can realize I'm emphasizing the word "and" in the video, okay? It's so easy to manipulate the and make it an or. They could just listen to this statement. Report immediately to the patrol supervisor or platoon commander any unusual crime, occurrence, or condition. The actors are 100% right, but they took the word and made it an or, and that's a bad statement. Those are strong words. And, or, must, always, never. As we come across them in the lesson plans, I will point it out. Please highlight it. So again, report immediately to the patrol supervisor and platoon commander any unusual crime, occurrence, or condition. Report conditions not requiring immediate attention to who? The TSOP. Report now TSOP. We didn't cover that actor yet, but let me just throw that out there because this is new. The TSOP can be a uniformed member or civilian. They want you to use a civilian member if possible. Report to the desk when entering or leaving a station house, PSA, or transit district during a tour, indicating the reason for your presence therein. Keep the TSOP informed of police services rendered when you're dispatched by the TSOP. Report police service rendered in another precinct to the desk officer of that precinct. To the desk officer, not to the TSOP of that precinct. If you're going to be detained at court and you're unable to return and sign the return roll call at the end of tour, you are to notify the desk officer. Now, there's going to be a little arrow with a box with 3 keys, which brings you to a procedure in 212, which is way down the road that is kind of a conflict with what we just said here. I'm not going to get that in your head now. When we cover 212, we will come back and revisit this conflict here, okay? When assigned as a response officer in a neighborhood policing command, it's going to be the same as the prior page. You're in uniform and adhere to 202. Operator duties are 20203. Recorder duties depending on your assignment. Patrol as determined by the platoon commander or other competent authority. So look, what happened to the sergeant here? What happened? They went right to the platoon commander. So you gotta, when we break in the chain of command, you gotta pay attention to that. When I say break in the chain of command, that's when you skip a rank. So as a cop, if you need to get something done or you need permission from somebody, you should be going to who? One rank above. Sergeant, whether it's your immediate supervisor, patrol sergeant. Here, it mentions lieutenant. So please pay attention when we break the chain of command. We are going to have a whole list of breaking the chain of command. We have an app that will be ready sometime after New Year that will have about 800 questions, all multiple choice, A, B, C, and D, which you're going to see on test day. We're going to have all your radio codes in there, your acronyms, I forget the number of them, probably close to 90 acronyms. Every time we break the chain of command in the manual, we're going to have it on the app for you. Answer calls for service so that steady sector officers can engage in uncommitted time. Again, that's the UC time. Provide backup for and assist sector cars when necessary. That's the first actor. Next guy up. 20202, RMP operator. Don't get crazy trying to remember the actual procedure number and what the title is. If you can do it, God bless you. But there's really no need to, all right? 20202 RMP operator. You're going to operate the car for the entire tour when you are driving a boss. Makes sense. If you're driving a boss, you are going to drive the boss. You're going to operate the car the whole time. Now, real life, because it happened to me. Some of you guys and girls watching this got a license just to become a cop. To get on this job, you have to have a driver's license. What does that mean? You suck at driving, right? You waited now to get your license to become a cop. I had this where one of my friends who was driving me as I was a sergeant, PSA 5, a few blocks in, I said, pull the car over. I got it. I said, sit there. I'm driving myself because I don't want to get into an accident because of your lack of driving ability. If we're going to get hurt, it's going to be my fault. All right, but patrol guide world, you're driving a boss, you are going to drive the whole tour. Maintain radio messages directed to your assigned area when the supervisor is out of the car. Regarding seatbelts, inspect and notify the patrol supervisor of any deficiency. Please highlight, circle patrol supervisor. Any deficiency, you go to the patrol supervisor. You're going to wear your 3-point seatbelts when provided, or lap belt if the 3-point belt is not provided. Use safety belt extender when your 3-point belt becomes difficult to engage due to space constraints. The belts are required for everybody, whether you're driving, you're a passenger in a marked car, unmarked car, private car, authorized for police use. Everybody has to have the seatbelt on. When can they come off? Belts may be removed only when you're involved in what appears to be a dangerous tactical situation where the belt may impair ability to take police action. So you're going to jump out on somebody because they fit the script of a robbery. Obviously, you need to have that belt off so you can jump out and grab them before it turns bad. Okay, so when you're going to do police work, basically a dangerous tactical situation, the belts may be removed. Next little topic there. Ballistic window insert and wedges. New since last exam. You will inspect the window insert wedges for proper installation and damage. If the vehicle is equipped with one, immediately report deficiencies to who? The patrol supervisor. Immediately. Don't let them say without delay report to the patrol supervisor. Immediately tell the patrol supervisor any deficiencies in the ballistic window insert or the wedge. All right, you're going to position your car at the scene of emergency to avoid obstructing or being blocked by emergency apparatus. This is policing 101, but you'll see it out there. You respond to a job, God forbid somebody calls a 1013, and somebody parks the RMP dead in the middle of the street, and nobody can get down the street because this car is blocking. Policing 101, okay? Constantly patrol your assigned sector. Avoid remaining in areas where radio reception is poor. Permit only uniformed members performing police-related duty to ride in the RMP on patrol. Respond to messages of serious police emergency within 5 blocks of location, even if the message is directed to another car, regardless of your sector, precinct, or borough boundaries. That is a great test question, okay? You have numbers. When you have numbers, that's another thing to look at. 5 blocks of the location, serious police emergency, you will respond. Even if it's in another sector, even if it's in another precinct, even if it's in another borough. If it's within 5 blocks, you can respond. I will take, as an example, 83104. I think it's Cooper Avenue that is like the border. So if you're assigned to the 83 and you're a block off of Cooper and you hear an emergency in the 104, but it's only 4 blocks out, you are now leaving your precinct, you're leaving your patrol borough, you're leaving a geographical borough. Yes, you can do that, all right? Next page. Go to emergencies with due caution. Don't use your siren unnecessarily. Approach the scene of reported crime quietly. Common sense. Operate the car in a manner to avoid injury to anybody or damage property. Drive at a slow rate of speed, except under exceptional circumstances or extreme emergency. Do not tow or push another vehicle with the RMP. I'm sure some of you have helped people. We are not allowed to push. There's an exception. Highway. If a vehicle is blocking an active traffic lane, highway vehicles that have the push bars can push the vehicle. Highway will push the car to a safe spot. You're not going to push it onto somebody's private property or to a repair shop, all right? They never asked it, but I always had this stuck in my head, and for teaching for years, I always mention it. So right away, we know highway can push, but not to private property or repair shop if they have the push bars, right? But make sure that car they're going to push is blocking an active traffic lane. If the disabled car is on the shoulder and highway's there with a push bar, there's no reason. We are not allowed to push the vehicle, all right? Blocking active traffic lane, highway with push bars can do it. Leave the radio on. Have the car ready for instant use when the car is being cleaned or supplied with fuel. Do not place the car out of service if fuel is to be obtained in your assigned command. So for some reason on test day, if you have to go to another command to fuel up, then you can take the RMP out of service. But in your assigned command, you don't go out of service. Do not unnecessarily leave the car unattended. Remove keys. Lock car when answering calls. Do not leave your portable radio in the car. Inspecting the vehicle. Inspect the car when you report for duty. And there's also another procedure that deals with inspections in 219.01. Make digital activity log entry of the COG. Here it is. Here's the first acronym. Condition, odometer, and gas. When you inspect the car, that's what goes in, your digital activity log entry. This is an easy acronym. There's going to be some procedures that have a nice long acronym full of juicy, testable information. This one right here is very easy to remember. A little test-taking tip with acronyms. I don't know if your test is going to be administered the way it has been in the past, where you sit down, you got scrap paper, you have a Scantron. Word on the street is they're trying to make everybody take the exam on computer terminals. But I still think you're going to get scrap paper. So what I did on prior exams, there are some acronyms that are very, very testable with a lot of valuable content. What I would do, I kept a list of acronyms, and we're going to have acronyms in on the app whenever it comes out sometime at the beginning of next year. I would warm up my studying with looking at acronyms that I covered. I would look at them, I would write them on paper, look at them, write them on paper. So what happens when you write them a few times? They're going to be right here. Test day. When the bell rings, first 5 minutes, what I did on every test, I took the blank paper, because they give you scrap paper, and I wrote out a bunch of acronyms. Probably a whole front page and maybe a back. I did it so quick that I was accused of cheating, where the monitor came over and said, "Where'd you get this paper from?" I said, first of all, if you weren't 80 years old and barely breathing, you would see that you gave me this paper. Now, I didn't say that, but I'm just trying to make you remember something. I said, this paper was on my desk, and I wrote them all out. They said, there's no way you could write that out since the bell rang to now. I said, yes, there is. I said, you please go out and get a supervisor, or give me another scrap paper, and I'll show you that I did. Bottom line is, I was allowed to keep the scrap paper. But it worked. When you get that long question, and it deals with an acronym that we created, all you're going to have to do, instead of trying to pull it out of your head as you're reading the question, you're going to look at the scrap paper and say, look at the scrap paper, look at the question, and you'll be like, oh, here's the answer. It is letter C. 1, 2, 3. So acronyms are very, very valuable. So inspecting, you're going to make a digital activity log entry of the COG. Condition, odometer, gas. Maintaining your vehicle. Notify the desk officer when speedometer requires repair or other parts or accessories, including tires and tubes. Take care of the car and accessories, equipment, and tools assigned. Cooperate with other operators of the same car to which assigned in care and maintenance, particularly cleaning, washing, and keeping the car in proper operating condition. Make minor repairs to the car when possible, because you all have a side job, you're all mechanics, right? Make minor repairs. What a joke. Enter appointment for preventive maintenance on your sticker affixed to the vehicle. Deliver car for regular preventive maintenance inspection as scheduled on the sticker affixed to the vehicle. Miscellaneous. Look at this bullet. Do not carry electric blasting caps in vehicles or transmit within 150 feet of any electric blasting operation. For it to be in a patrol guide means some jackass out there was carrying electric blasting caps in the RMP. I don't get it. 25 years I've never seen an electric blasting cap. But the reason it's in the guide is because somebody did it. Another reason why the guide is so big is because every time we kind of mess up or we do something stupid like this, they come out with a new procedure and the guide keeps getting bigger and bigger. So, within 150 feet, please remember that distance. Take RMP out of assigned sector 3 times. Directed by competent authority, answering an emergency call, servicing, repairing, or cleaning as required with permission of who? The desk officer, not the patrol supervisor. Don't let them switch the actors on you, all right? Perform duties of the recorder when none is assigned. Sign return roll call at the end of tour. So we just finished up with the operator. I've been going for about 47 minutes. If you've been watching me straight, it's about 47 minutes. This is when, if you didn't take a break, you should pause a little bit, get some fresh air, get some water, take a break, but make sure you come back. Because if you don't come back, you're not going to want to do it. So we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to continue with RMP Recorder, page 18, when we resume. All right, welcome to part 2 of lesson 1. A little different look. Got glasses on now. I was fighting it for the first part of lesson 1 without the glasses. Got to give in every now and then. This is what happens when you get old, but could be worse, right? So let's start with Recorder 20203 on page 18. Recorder, right in the front seat of the RMP, except when transporting a prisoner, EDP, etc. Got to get in the back seat. But if your RMP has a partition, you could stay in the front seat. Seatbelts. Assist operator in inspecting and inform operator of any deficiencies. Make digital activity log entry. Notify patrol supervisor. Very, very important bullet. Highlighted, okay? So you as a cop, the recorder, will help out the operator inspecting the seatbelts. If you find a deficiency, you, a cop, notifies another cop. Yes, you are going to notify the operator. 3 things you're going to do. You are going to make an activity log entry and notify the patrol supervisor. Cop notifying another cop. Very, very odd. Please highlight it. So again, 3 things. Notify your partner, who is the operator. Activity log entry, notify the patrol supervisor. The box with the 2 bullets is the same duties regarding seatbelts that we covered in 20202 operators. So I'm not going to read through it again. Radio issues. Recording and digital activity log. Radio messages directed to the RMP, including time, location, type, and enter dispo of each call and time completed. Operate the radio, notify the desk officer if radio becomes inoperative. Give disposition if the job is over, or interim dispo immediately upon completion and before you leave the scene of assignment. Do not pull off without telling radio either you're going to another location regarding this job or you're finalizing it. Give interim dispo if required to go to another location in connection with the assignment, which I just said. Notify desk officer of dispo of job originating in the station house or other important assignments of unusual nature. Notify radio of all assignments that do not emanate from central. Give the location and nature of assignment if undue delay is encountered in response to a radio message. Highlight this. Prepare necessary reports, records connected with police action taken jointly with the operator. The recorder does all the paperwork, but you do it jointly with the operator. Highlight the next one. Obtain permission from radio dispatcher to place RMP out of service for minor repairs. So, this box right here, you're going to see a lot of these boxes throughout our lesson plans. It compares duties, responsibilities, or procedure itself, important parts. This one compares the operator and the recorder. So let's look. A little refresher, we just covered this earlier. Operator, you will notify the desk officer to take the car out of sector or to service, clean, or repair. Recorder, you're going to notify radio dispatcher to do what? Take the car out of service or for minor repairs. So operator went to the desk officer, recorder goes to radio dispatcher. Don't let them confuse you. Recorder, radio dispatcher. R to R. Recorder to radio dispatcher. Operator, you go to the desk. Carry duplicate set of keys for vehicle assigned to during tour of duty. You just revamped the patrol guide. This should have been taken out. Lucky if you find one set of keys. Now they want you to have a dupe set of keys. Notify radio of presence of non-MOS in the vehicle. Who's a non-MOS? If you don't know that, I feel bad for you, honestly. Non-MOS. Prisoner, complainant, etc. What are you going to tell radio? The time they entered the RMP, gender, and the beginning mileage. Then, time they exit the RMP, ending mileage upon destination. Search passenger area for contraband. When? Upon conclusion. So you're going to see a little arrow to a box for 20806, which is the arrest section of the patrol guide. The rule is a little different, okay? Again, this is one of those conflicts. We will revisit this conflict when we hit arrest. But for this procedure, recorder, you're going to search the passenger area for contraband upon conclusion. And it's just you. It doesn't have the operator helping you out. Make digital activity log entry with time the trip starts, identity of person, both locations, beginning and end, purpose of the trip, and results of inspection. Next page. Motor scooter operator, 20204. For some reason, they like this actor on test day. This actor has appeared on numerous prior exams. So if we tell you something like that, let me just get this straight out there. Nobody knows what's going to be on the exam. Well, not nobody. The people writing the exam, obviously, they'll have an idea because they're writing the questions, right? But nobody knows what's really going to appear on the exam. But if we tell you something like this has appeared on numerous exams, or another actor we're going to come across, desk officer, appears on almost every exam, you would be a fool not to know this procedure left to right, up, down, inside out, because the question is coming. All right, if it's been there, asked over and over, you got to know it. That's a ground ball point. Put it in your pocket, move forward, go to the next question, okay? So, motor scooter operator. Do not respond to radio runs unless specifically directed by the radio dispatcher. Look at the star. The 5-block rule does not apply here. You're in a scooter. You are not going to a job, even if that's an emergency, unless radio assigns it to you. You have to get scooter training 3 different times. You're involved in a scooter collision, makes sense. You haven't operated one in 6 months, and now you're being considered for assignment for scooter duty. And you've been riding around in a scooter for a year, and you haven't gone to the refresher. So that's the 3 times you have to get scooter training. So you're going to operate the scooter, enter in your digital activity log, the COG. Same thing as when you do your vehicle inspection. Condition, odometer, gas. Same duty as the operator. Operate scooter at a slow, safe rate of speed. In the box here, you have some rules for 3-wheel scooters. So you all know there's a 3-wheel scooter and a 2-wheel scooter. You got to know the different rules for the different scooter you're going to be using on test day. So 3-wheel. You can operate on all tours. The max speed is 20 miles an hour. May be used in moderate rain or fog. Obviously, you're enclosed, you're safe. And may be used when it's below 32 degrees because you are enclosed, okay? It's going to be a little different when we hit the 2-wheel scooter rules and we have a box on the bottom that compares it. Headlights will be on at all times. Do not pursue motor vehicles if you're assigned to a scooter. Yes, you cannot be involved in a vehicle pursuit. In reality, do we follow along in the chase? Yeah, we do, okay? But test day, no good. Do not be assigned on an expressway or parkway. That word assigned could be very tricky. That means your post or assignment cannot be on an expressway or parkway. Does that mean you're not allowed to drive on an expressway or parkway? On test day, I would say you can drive to get from point A to point B. Get on the LIE, depending on if you're working there, for one exit. You just can't be assigned. Watch the wording, okay? Check road conditions of your post. Make a digital activity log entry immediately after arrival on post. Request reassignment when your original assignment is hazardous. 3 wheels, you have to use your siren roof lights when necessary, obey traffic control devices, and you only can use a scooter when you're assigned, licensed, and qualified by the job. Do not use a scooter when rain, snow, sleet, heavy fog, any precipitation causes slippery ground or temperature falls below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, but don't forget about the 3-wheel exception. Don't use the scooter if there's patches of ice or snow that remain from a previous storm. High winds interfere with control of the scooter. Makes sense. What's your uniform if you're in the scooter? Helmet and visor, but if you're in a 3-wheeler, you don't need the visor. Both scooters must wear reflective traffic safety vests during hours of darkness. All right? Traffic safety vests during hours of darkness. 2 or 3-wheel scooter. Here's a chart on the bottom comparing rules for the 2-wheeler and 3-wheeler. Do not neglect these charts. I love the way they set it up and compare, all right? So you know the difference. I'm not going to read through it, but this is a good way to stick the information in your head. So now we are going to go to page 25. I'm going to skip 1 or 2 actors and go to somebody else who is more important, I think, and they're new. Page 25, 20211, NCO. Again, if you're just joining me and you skipped the first part, new since your last exam, which was in 2017. Neighborhood Coordination Officer. This was the big to-do with Ronnie Harrison when he first took over, all right? And it's still a big to-do. So I would definitely know Neighborhood Coordination Officer and the Sergeant, which we'll cover in a little while. You're going to work flexible tours in uniform as sector conditions and community needs dictate. Work the same tour as other NCOs assigned to sector unless one is assigned to court, vacation leave, etc. Patrol as a sector cop only when sector office is unavailable or is otherwise necessary. Notify steady sector cops of conditions of mutual importance and keep your NCO sergeant informed. Perform other duties as directed by NCO sergeant. Next 2 sub-bullets, highlight, highlight, highlight. NCOs are not to be used as backfill for precinct assignments. What could that be? Shooting post, prisoner transport, hospital post, etc. Next one, highlight. NCOs not to be assigned details during regularly scheduled tours without permission of blah, blah, blah. So we're going to get to that. I'm not blowing it off. So you can't use an NCO for a detail during regular tour. If they're RDO, yes, you can use them. During a regular tour, if you need to send them to a detail, you need permission from one of these 3. Let's start from the end of the sentence and work to the left. Highest person in the NYPD, police commissioner. Then you got chief of department. Then you got bureau chief concerned. So you're going to hear me in future lessons mention the term 3 wise men. The 3 wise men in the NYPD are the top 3 dogs. PC, who's next? First Dep, who's next under him or her? Chief of department. So when you hear me say 3 wise men, PC, First Dep, Chief of department. This line right here leaves out the First Dep, okay? So you want to assign an NCO to a detail during their regular scheduled tour. You need permission from either bureau chief concerned. So if you're assigned to a patrol precinct, that's the chief of patrol, housing, chief of housing, transit, chief of transit, chief of department, or police commissioner. Utilize the officer's self-report form on the craft to report achievements in crime prevention, problem-solving, community engagement. You are authorized to wear the NCO breast bar above your shield, immediately below any unit citation or individual recognition awards for the duration of your tenure in that assignment as NCO. This little keynote with a question here shows you how easy they can manipulate the line about sending an NCO to a detail. Something to touch on. 3 people could give you permission to send that NCO to a detail during a regular scheduled tour, right? If you see a list of 3, again, think, I'm writing a question. What's an easy question for me to write? Because they want to write the questions bang out whatever questions they have to write for a day, 5 questions. Then they get to sit in DCAS office all day and have lunch and drink coffee. This is what I hear. Do I know this? I don't know. I can either confirm or deny. So let's look for the easy questions to write. A list of 3, just got to swap somebody else in there. Next page. You are going to regularly confer with sector car officers, patrol supervisors, platoon commander, SOL, NCO sergeant, FIO, community affairs officer. Basically everybody you're conferring with. Doubt you need to know that because it includes everybody. Regularly meet with the precinct crime prevention officer to determine outreach efforts. Assist precinct YCO. Who's that? Youth coordination officer in identifying at-risk juvies who reside in the sector and referring youth to department, city, and community-based social services and prevention programs. Assist the squad with open cases in your assigned sector by conducting canvasses, etc. And you will update ECMS, what's that? Electronic Case Management System, as directed by assigned detective or squad supervisor. Get sector crime info from precinct crime analysis personnel weekly. There's another time frame, and as needed. Review reports, be well versed in patterns and trends in assigned sector with their assistance. Confer with the precinct domestic violence officers to ascertain the identity of recurrent domestic violence offenders with a propensity for violence who reside in their sector. Liaise with counterparts in other bureaus. Patrol will liaise with housing and transit, vice versa. So this list of in-house conferrals, the duties, you're conferring with a lot of people. Second bullet, crime prevention. Third bullet, your YCO. Fourth bullet, squad for open cases. Fifth bullet, domestic violence officers. A lot of conferring going on. And then we have a recap right here for you in the box. Again, don't neglect these boxes. Outside conferrals. Visit schools, house of worship, hospitals, similar public institutions frequently. Strengthen the line of communication with residents, schools, businesses, and prevent crime and disorder. Regularly confer with residents, business persons, officials at public institutions, clergy, community leaders within your sector. Visit schools frequently and confer with principals and school safety agents at public school meetings regarding problematic conditions, violent crime, and gang crew activity. When possible, participate in school activities, events to build positive relationships with students. Maintain a close liaison with the management of facilities within sectors where large events are held. Some of these duties can sound like the duties of the crime prevention officer, which can confuse you. So please do not let them confuse you with the actors on test day. Next page. Coordinate and lead sector efforts to engage the community and address their problems of concern by establishing effective and continuous communication with sector cops and members of the community. If I had to guess, and I didn't know any better, that can sound like the duty of a community affairs officer. Develop strategies to identify and address crime and quality of life problems affecting sector. Coordinate police, city, and community resources to implement strategies. Initiate contact with other department units, governmental agencies as appropriate regarding strategies to address sector conditions and render assistance as necessary. All right, the last few bullets, read on your own. Again, I have to prioritize for you guys and girls, so let's go to page 29. TSOP. Nice little procedure there. Starting with the box on the top. A civilian member of service will be assigned as TSOP when feasible. Think in-basket. A lot of you guys and girls don't even know what an in-basket is. And will you be getting an in-basket on test day? It's still up in the air. We will know, you will know when the notice of examination comes out. We are gearing up and preparing you that you're going to have an in-basket. So basically an in-basket deals with a lot of different moving parts. Adjusting the roll call, changing assignments, moving people out of sector cars, sticking them in a hospital. People went sick, roll call change sheet changes, all different things. So we're gearing up like you're going to have an in-basket. So right when I see a line like this, civilian MOS will be assigned as TSOP when feasible. If you get a question on testing in the in-basket, who should you assign as a TSOP? One cop took an E-day. If you didn't catch the E-day, you may pick them. One cop called in sick. You have a civilian there, and you have another cop. Your civilian should be the one you pick, okay? TSOP, answer phone promptly, courteously, and say, command, rank, title, surname, and may I help you? Process request for service. Bring to the attention of the desk officer matters of importance or other conditions requiring attention. Notify desk when MOS required to signal fails to do so in a reasonable time. Interview visitors entering the command. TSOP will maintain what? Great acronym. Highway Fort. The H is your highway conditions record. Your F, frequent telephone inquiries. O, outgoing toll calls. R, roll call, but not just roll call in general. Do copy of the roll call. T, telephone dispatch log. Here you have a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Test question right there for them to come up with, and it doesn't even take a lot of work. Do not let them swap anything out. And on a prior exam, because we used to be allowed to take prior exams to help you guys and girls out when it would come time for protest, they had a question here. Which one of the following is not maintained by the TSOP? Highway condition record, frequent telephone inquiries, those two are good. Outgoing toll calls, that's good. What they did with telephone, they switched telephone dispatch log to telephone record. Both start with the same word, telephone. Telephone record is not maintained by the TSOP. Who maintains that? Desk officer. Again, easy acronym to remember. Write it down on your scrap paper test day. That's a point in your pocket if they come at you with a question from TSOP. Next actor, 20215, attendant. Just make 2 notes next to it. Write uniform member of the service or civilian member. Can be your police attendant. Uniform member, you guys and girls, or civilian. Assume control of, search, if applicable, and inspect prisoners. Ensure property dangerous to life or may facilitate escape or damage property or could be used for suicide or assault somebody is removed. That could be anything. Look, the examples: glass, sharp edge, belt, tie, shoelace, drawstrings. Something here that also could be included. A magic marker, because it says take anything away that may damage property. Marker they can damage by tagging up inside the cell. So common sense here, okay? If you have occupied cells, make sure the doors of occupied cells are locked. Remain inside the cell block at all times and be alert to conditions and needs of such prisoners. Report to who? The desk officer, any physical condition or unusual need of a prisoner. Attend to the personal needs of prisoners, meals, etc. Male attendant will visit female cell area when? Either accompanied by a female member of the service and then only with permission of the boss in the command, or in daily cleaning of unoccupied female cells or in an emergency. 3 times. Remain within the cell block during relief and make sure doors of occupied cells are locked. That's whoever's relieving your cell attendant. Police attendant, sorry. Prisoner roster. Conduct inspection. Make entry immediately after reporting for duty. Notify the desk officer of results. Conduct inspection and make an entry when? Every 30 minutes. Next page. So we're on page 30. Other duties at the top. Report necessary repairs to the desk officer or appropriate supervisor. Highlighted. The reason I'm saying highlighted is because it changed from your last exam. Why highlight changes? The people writing your exam are going to be in the rank of sergeant, and there will be 1 lieutenant who will oversee them. So they all pass the sergeant exam, and obviously the 1 person passed the lieutenant exam. They know the changes that came about. They know a lot of guys and girls don't keep their patrol guides up to date. So people will write questions on intermortars that made changes. So this first bullet, report necessary repairs to the desk officer / appropriate supervisor. Used to be another actor. And I'm not going to say who it used to be, because I don't even want you to have that shit in your head, all right? So I'm not a big person on what something used to be. Why stick that in your head when you don't need to know that for test day? If you think that will work for you, God bless you. Go with it and get the stuff down. Wash cells, test alarm, and cell block each day immediately after prisoners have been taken to court. Keep cells supplied with paper cups, toilet paper, and paper towels. Remove, that's a joke. Toilet paper, paper towels. Meanwhile, in the bathrooms that you guys and girls use, you don't even have that stuff. You got to go get a damn old t-shirt or a tank top from your locker sometimes to dry your hands. Remove and safeguard guns prior to entering detention cell area, including facility established during emergency arrest situations. This only applies, obviously, to uniformed members of the service. Supervisor will ensure guns are safeguarded at the temporary detention facility. Civilian attendant, if you assign a civilian on test day. Civilian attendant specific duties does not apply to uniform member. Immediately request assistance, hit the panic alarm, contact the desk for a medical emergency in a cell. Enter occupied cell only when accompanied by UMOS unless there's a life-threatening emergency. So if there's a prisoner in a cell, you don't go in there if you're a civilian unless you have a cop with a uniform member. Unless it's an emergency, then you can go right in and help out. Escort prisoners as directed by who? Competent authority. All right, we're going to do a little skipping. Go to page 32. (202)18. I'm going to say, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'm going to say 99% this is the number one actor for your test coming out of 202. This procedure right here, you need to know. Inside, outside, backwards, left, right, however you want to remember it, you need to know every single thing about desk officer because it's almost on every exam, multiple questions. This is the prime sergeant actor here for you on test day. So desk officer will be rank of sergeant or above. It could be a lieutenant. Perform duty in uniform. You are responsible for all police operations in the command during the tour. Highlight all police operations because when we talk about patrol supervisor, something's going to sound similar, but it's field operations. This is police operations in the command during the tour. Inspect all arrest processing areas and prisoner detention areas within the command prior to taking the desk. Periodically inspect the arrest processing area and ascertain number of perps and length of time in command. Command log entry. So the command log to the desk officer is like your activity log. A lot of stuff goes in that command log, okay? So desk officer, you are going to sign your name and time in the command log when assuming desk duties. You are signing in the desk when you take over. You're signing in the command log, okay? You're going to see in a minute what you do for other sergeants. You as a desk officer, please do not drop this. You are going to sign name and time in command log when you assume desk duties. You will enter lieutenants and sergeants as present for duty at the start of their tours. So you're a sergeant on the desk and the lieutenant walks in, present for duty. In reality, what does he or she do? Goes right to the command log, signs in present for duty. On test day, that lieutenant and every other sergeant, when they come to work and start their tour, you, the desk officer, makes that entry. Don't think about reality. Another thing, reality and patrol guide world. Test day, you need to know patrol guide. Forget about reality because if you go with what you do on a daily basis, you're going to fail the test. All right, next up, you're going to write time, rank, name, command of assignment, address, reason, and authorizing the supervisor for any uniform member reporting for duty or end the tour via outside wire. So you got to make a detailed command log entry. If you have a cop who's starting the tour at court or at the surgeon, you have to make a detailed entry, all right? Starting the tour, ending the tour outside wire. That means they're not right in front of you, they're not visible. Sign out in the command log when you leave the desk for any reason. Record changes to the roll call in the command log as they occur. Highlight the next sub-bullet. Notify the TS op of any post changes and Notify patrol supervisor of a reassignment of members returning from court or detail. So you're notifying 2 people, you as a desk officer. TSOP of post changes and the sergeant when somebody comes back from court and they are going out and getting a new post. Next page. Regarding meal. Arrange meal and relief for personnel assigned in your command facility. Ensure that supervisory meals are scheduled so that one boss is on patrol at all times. When more than one patrol supervisor is on patrol, one will relieve the desk for meal. Meal relief is not an emergency. Regarding property. Listen, property will get you jammed up on this job. Property and prisoners. Said to me many, many years ago, and it's still the case, all right? And I'm going to highlight some important stuff in a minute. Certified to accuracy and completeness of command log entries concerning voucher property. Highlight this one. Inspect the property locker and all areas where invoice property is being held when it's bold, but highlighted, circle it at the beginning of tour. Designate an MOS to do a physical inventory using the pets. The system will give you an inventory number. Document results of inspection of invoice property and property clerk division seals in the command log by documenting physical inventory number ascertained from the pets. Next line. Make a separate command log entry indicating any invoices stored in the command in excess of 30 days. If you were in front of me in class, your ears would be ringing because I'm screaming, I'm emphasizing in excess of 30 days. That means more than 30 days. What are they going to do on test day? You're going to find a voucher that's been in the command for exactly 30 days. What do? You don't do these extra steps, all right? More than 30 days, what do you have to do? Notify the ops coordinator of the number of vouchers stored in the command in excess of 30 days and expedite delivery of the invoice property to its final storage location. So property that's in the command more than 30 days, you need to make a command log entry, a separate command log entry than the one you did above for all the other invoice property. So you're making a separate command log entry, you're notifying the ops coordinator, and you're getting the shit out of the command, send it to where it's supposed to be expeditiously. Your post as a desk officer, you will operate and monitor the base radio. Visit all areas of the command facility. How often? At least once each tour. Personally check restrooms and locker rooms for structural defects that would let a peeping Tom practice their sport. So if you're walking by the male or female locker room or the gender neutral bathroom, whatever we got going on in this and nowadays, all right, and you can clearly see right in, you need to do something as the desk officer to fix that situation. Whether it's shut down the bathroom or shut down the locker room, do something to fix it, okay? Inspect the command for display of any offensive material. Whole procedure on that when we come into 205. That's on every promotional exam for every rank. Ensure areas with department computer systems are being used within guidelines and not damaged. Inspect parking facilities, street sidewalks around the command to ensure no department vehicles or even vehicles with restricted parking permits. That's your private cars, the plaques you get from the ICO. So department vehicles, private cars cannot be parked illegally. And they give you examples: obstructing bike lanes, sidewalks, hydrants, bus stops. That's not where we park every day when we go to work, because some of these commands have no parking lots and we need to park, right? We violate this all the time. But on test day, no good. Document inspection with a command log entry. Take corrective action if necessary. No unauthorized persons behind the desk except the following when performing official duties. Here is a great list that's been tested numerous times. First thing you need to remember is performing official duties. So who's allowed behind the desk? First sub-bullet, all allow assistance. Corp counsel or assistant. DA or assistant. Medical examiner or assistant. Comptroller or assistant. They are allowed behind the desk if they're performing official duties. Who else? MOS, you, judicial officers, and non-local law enforcement agency people. Those three categories do not get assistance. And they added one person to this list from last set of exams. non-local law enforcement agency people. Think of immigration, ICE. That's where this came about. When President Trump was president, and then this whole immigration status thing, this came about because of that, okay? Prior test question. Not word for word, but basically, member of the same command, he or she is end of tour. They're walking out, they're like, oh, I need to call my wife or my whoever at home. They go behind the desk to use the phone. Are they allowed behind the desk? Yes, they are, because they're an MOS. But what made that wrong? They're not performing their official duties. Please know this list. Great test question. Then it just gets into detail about non-local law enforcement. They're not permitted in non-public areas of any city property unless you have 3 exceptions. They are authorized pursuant to a cooperative agreement, such as a task force, where access furthers the purpose or mission of the department, where the access is required by law, if there is exigent circumstances. Next page. Roll call. At the start of tour, you are going to query the medical division sick reporting system to see who is out sick or who is working but they're not full duty. Immediately investigate unaccounted MOS at the start of the tour, and after 2 hours, you are going to follow Patrol Guide Procedure 205-18, which is absent without leave. That's a very important procedure. That AWOL procedure, even though we didn't hit it, does not apply to civilians. I want to throw it out there now because I want it to stick in your head, all right? So after roll call, if it's 30 minutes and somebody is on the roll call, but they're not present, we don't know where they are, we got to find out where they are. After 2 hours, if we're still looking for this guy or girl, it's not civilian, we're talking about cops, all right? After 2 hours and we still can't locate them, now we jump into 205-18, which we'll cover in a few weeks. After roll call, give the rundown to radio as listed on the roll call. Update radio as changes occur throughout the tour. Prior to the start of the incoming platoon, you're going to put entries on roll call adjustment sheet, which is your change sheet, and desk copy of the roll call. Log into the DOS system, Domain Awareness System, and import resources, tax number, tour, RMP if applicable. Next bullet, highlight, highlight, highlight. If any AVL is inoperable, you got to do 3 things as a desk officer. Call ITB's service desk. Make a telephone record entry and inform the patrol supervisor. 3 things when the AVL is inoperable. Make required notifications to members assigned to your command or who reside in your command. That could be a little tricky. So obviously, if you're on a desk and you get a notification for a cop who works in your command, you're going to call them up if they're home or they're not working, and you're going to give them the notification. But you also notify people residing in your command. So they're not assigned to your command, but they reside in your command. Do people do that? Not too frequent, but it can happen, all right? So be careful with the wording on that. Accept service of civil process, a subpoena, somebody getting sued, for members of your command, and notify them if the PRAA is not working. Who is the PRAA? That's the principal who is upstairs. They are the person in charge of all the civilians. If somebody comes in, a process server comes in to serve a subpoena or a summons on a member of the command, and the principal is working, you will get them to come down and handle this. You will not handle this. This is according to 202, this procedure. There's a conflict in the court procedure in 211, which you can see in this box, which we will cover in 211 when we get up to it. Directly supervise who? The TS. Remember, the TS can be a civilian, and that's who they want it to be. Your police attendant can be a civilian or uniform member. Command clerk, civilian. Arrest processing officer, patrol wagon operator. So that's who you daily supervise. There are 5 people. It used to be only 4. They added somebody to the list. Not even going to tell you who's new, but it's a change. Highlight it, know who you directly supervise when you are the desk officer. TSI, ensure a civilian MOS is assigned when feasible. That's your first choice, so be thinking in basket, all right? Though a uniformed member on restricted or limited can be assigned to TSR. Your police attendant, ensure they're not assigned duty requiring them to leave the cell if there are prisoners. Common sense. Don't give them work that's going to take them out of the cell block if there's prisoners there. We need to watch them to make sure they don't hurt themselves, etc. Arrest processing officer, you will supervise in conjunction with the ops coordinator and monitor arrest processing. Who is the ops coordinator? So, you don't need to study that actor. They are the same person as the admin lieutenant. Their official title is ops coordinator. Don't look at those duties, all right? No lieutenant duties should be looked at all for your exam. Patrol wagon operator. This applies to like 2-5 precinct where we house prisoners and then we take them down to central booking, all right? Assign qualified member to operate when civilian operator is not available. If neither is available and you need somebody to operate the patrol wagon, who do you call to get? Request a patrol bureau to assign an operator. Look at the next bullet. Highlight the one I just said and this one. Do not assign them duties outside the station house without prior approval from who? The borough court section concerned. So if you need somebody to operate the patrol wagon, who do you call? Patrol Borough. So if you're assigned to the 2-5, who you call? Patrol Borough Manhattan North, all right? But if you want to assign the operator duties outside the station house, you're not going to the patrol borough. Now you need permission from the borough court section concerned. So that would be Manhattan. Assignments from the borough court section are priority over precinct assignments. Do not deploy special enforcement people, your public safety team, aka anti-crime, right? Hopefully that will be coming back any day with the new administration. So again, don't deploy special enforcement people without specialized unit supervisor assigned directly and totally to them. Supervise the platoon sign out at the end of tour and verify return roll call. You're going to put platoon members entering the command for any reason in the interrupted patrol log. You know that log when you go in every day to the command to take a meal or use the bathroom? The log you probably write in yourself, PO Mifsud 63 or 62P, whatever, 62 admin. On test day, you don't write in that log. That is the duty of the desk officer. Verify arrival and departure of command receptionist by signing personal schedule and timesheet. Forward command reception reports as required. Notification referral duties for the desk officer. Notify the CO of important matters, unusual arrest occurrences or whatever requires personal attention. Confer with who regarding trends observed or other important matters. Confer with the CEO. Good acronym. Commanding officer. Executive officer, also known as your XO. Ops coordinator. Notify Intel's criminal intel section of major incidents and or special circumstances deemed appropriate by the CO of Intel and or the CO of your command, precinct, PSA, or transit district. Next page. Forms, reports, logs. Fun stuff, right? Just the beginning, guys, girls. We got to stick with this marathon. We're going to win it together. Let's do it. Remember, you want to get a pay raise. You want to change your command. You want to tell that boss to go screw themselves. How are you going to do that? You got to become one rank higher than them. All right, directly supervise prisoner roster entries, issuance of summons books, paycheck distribution. I guess there's still one or two guys or girls out there to get paychecks, even though we have direct deposit for years, but it's still there in the guide. Examine, sign, and forward forms and reports as required. Regarding the telephone dispatch log, without even looking, who maintains it? We said it earlier, TSOP, all right? But regarding this log, you as a desk officer have to certify entries by signing it 2 times. After the 4th hour, so the 5th hour is good, all right? Or 4 hours and 2 minutes into the tour is good, as long as it's after the 4th hour, right? And at the end of tour. Maintain telephone record. There it is. Maintain telephone record. Don't let them switch that with telephone dispatch log. Telephone dispatch log is maintained by who? TSOP, but you still make entries in there 2 times. Prepare a consolidated tour report every tour attached to the desk copy of the roll call. Prepare daily vehicle assignment sheet each tour. Every desk officer does it. First, second, third platoon, right? Keep current month sheets on a clipboard behind the desk. Highlight, highlight, highlight. If you are working the first platoon, late tour, midnight, whatever you want to call them, all right? You verify the daily vehicle assignment sheets. Big difference. Don't let them say every desk officer verifies the sheets. No, every desk officer does prepare one, but only the first platoon desk officer verifies. Please, the word is important. Highlight it, circle it. Look, if you can see, I got it highlighted and circled for a reason. I want you guys and girls to remember. It's been asked on a prior test. Have completed sheets filed after each month. Check department computer systems when? Frequently throughout the tour. Highlight the next one. Email is new from the last exam. Check command email account when? Immediately upon start of the tour, during the 4th hour, and you're going to make a command log entry. So it's 2 times. As soon as you start and during the 4th hour and make a command log entry. So that 4th hour has come up 2 times already in this desk officer procedure, right? Regarding telephone dispatch log and now your email. Do not drop this. Monitor finest messages affecting the command and or members of the command. Monitor department directives and disseminate info affecting the command as appropriate. Ensure important actionable info is relayed to the outgoing platoon, appropriate personnel as required. Check repair availability, distribution of field and emergency equipment. Make an entry in pertinent record. Report defective gas pumping equipment to who? Ground ball. Fleet services, fuel control. Ensure the U.S. flag is properly displayed when? This is such a stupid thing they've done, and don't let them do it to you. The flag has to be properly displayed between sunrise and sunset each day. Don't let them reverse the order, say sunset to sunrise, because it's going to sound good on test day, but it's wrong. Sunrise to sunset. Prior to being relieved at the end of tour, you're going to make a command log entry with the following: identity, condition, and location of MOS injured during the tour, location and time of any confirmed shots fired jobs, any 1013s or 1085s called during the tour, open missing persons that require follow-up. Make sure you include their ID, age, and residence. Hospitalized prisoners and their locations, any fixed posts that require relief, the number of 61s, TRIs, and PARs that are pending sign-off, other pertinent information as required, like an RP went out of service during the tour. So this is somewhat new with a little change from the last exam, because what would happen? You'd have the desk, and at the end of tour, you would just run out the door. The new desk officer comes in. They have no clue that we had 2 MOS injured in a department via collision. We still got somebody in the hospital. There's still a missing person that we are looking for. We would just run out the door and not tell the other desk officer. So now you got to make an entry of all this stuff before you leave, all right? So we are going to take our next break, and we are going to continue with another important actor when we resume, and we will resume on page 36 with 202.19, Patrol Supervisor. Again, this is like the 45, 50-minute mark. Take a break, get a snack. Don't take anything that's going to get you sleepy. Refresh yourself, revitalize yourself, throw cold water on your face, and let's get to it in a few minutes. All right, welcome back. We are on page 36, 202.19, Patrol Supervisor. Probably the second most important actor in today's lesson. Desk officer being number 1, now Patrol Supervisor. Who's that going to be? Uniform member to service in a rank of sergeant or above. At the start of the tour, you should remember this now from desk officer. What is the patrol sergeant doing? You go into the desk officer to make you a present for duty command log entry. But at the end of tour, you as the patrol sergeant will sign the return roll call. So you walk in, you go to the desk officer. I'm here. The desk officer makes the entry on test day, okay? Patrol supervisor, new change from last exam. Conduct roll call. When? 5 minutes after the start of tour, as detailed in 212.01. We'll cover that many, many weeks down the road. Patrol in uniform as directed, and highlight, supervise all police field operations in the command during the tour. Remember, I had you highlight something similar in desk officer duties. So it's right here. Look at the box on the right. The first column, platoon commander, don't look at. Desk officer. You're responsible for police operations, right? Patrol supervisor, you will supervise field operations. Don't let them swap that out on you. Conduct investigation and submit reports as required, including but not limited to injuries to MOS, uniformed and civilian, or damage to department property. So we're talking about line of duties. Patrol sergeant, you are going to handle that, right? Department vehicle collisions, damage to department property. Patrol sergeant, that's what this says here in 202.19. Radio runs, great, easy acronym to remember, and this was asked on a prior test. You are going to respond immediately and direct activities at what type of jobs? WEBS. W-E-B-S. Weapons, emergencies, burglaries, serious crimes. Make appropriate digital activity log entry. Radio will immediately dispatch patrol sergeants from adjoining command if you're not available. Ensure radio runs directed to MOS assigned to sectors of post are acknowledged. And you will direct RMP units to resume patrol when services are no longer needed. This you see every day after a job. And if we have 4 sectors respond, what do we do after the job? We hang around and we bullshit, right? We're human beings. That's what we want to do. But patrol sergeant, you're supposed to tell people, go 98, go 98. Whatever else has to be done. Regarding vehicle and seatbelt, use the AVL and DOS to monitor RMP locations for uniform members' safety and to ensure proper delivery of police service. If, highlight, if the AVL is not working, notify the desk officer, but do not put the RMP out of service unless IB or FSD, Fleet Services, says to, all right? Please highlight it, know it cold. It's a little different than a desk officer duty when it comes to AVL. So again, patrol sergeant, if the AVL is not working, what do? Notify the desk officer, but do not place the RMP out of service unless IB or, not and, or, remember that key word, IB or FSD says to. Little recap, what does the desk officer do when he or she comes across an AVL not working? You should know this, we just covered this a few minutes ago. The desk officer does 3 things. Notifies ITB, makes a telephone record entry, and notifies the patrol sergeant. Supervise inspection of department vehicles assigned to members of the platoon. Highlight the next 2 bullets. Report serious seatbelt deficiencies to Lieutenant Platoon Commander, or if he or she is absent, direct to the CO. Think in basket here, right? Serious deficiency to Lieutenant Platoon Commander. If they're not in on the day of your in basket, then you go to the CO. Report all vandalism of RMP seatbelts to IEB. Don't let them confuse you with a deficiency, a serious deficiency in vandalism. You get an RMP and the seatbelt is clearly cut. That is vandalism. That's going to IEB. If you get in the RMP and you're trying to buckle the seatbelt and it's not staying in the latch, that's a deficiency. Go to the Lieutenant Platoon Commander. If they're not there, to the CO. Take appropriate action if seatbelt defects are deemed not consistent with normal usage. That means you get in there and you see the seatbelt is already buckled. You know how we do, so we don't hear the chime, we buckle it and then we sit over it. That's what they're referring to there. Take appropriate action, Sergeant. Be vigilant for indication of disabling or improper use, buckling behind occupant's body or seat, what I just said. Direct motor scooter operators to go to the platoon commander or desk officer for reassignment when weather or road conditions become dangerous. So you're out there on patrol, you go to scratch somebody who's assigned to a sector, and he or she tells you, listen, there's some ice out there on the floor from a storm a few days ago and it's slippery. Do not give them a new assignment yourself. Do not. That's something we would do in reality because you are a supervisor. You send them to the desk officer or platoon commander for reassignment. Evaluate driving habits and abilities and take corrective action as necessary. Regarding supervision, be cognizant of crime and conditions and instruct police officers regarding activity affecting their sectors or posts. Supervise MOS performance of duty, test knowledge of command conditions, closely evaluate activity. Highlight right here is new. Use the neighborhood policing app to supervise, conduct neighborhood policing functions. Definitely highlight the next bullet. Visit footpost and RMP when? Frequently and at irregular intervals. But hospitals and special posts will be visited once a tour. So footpost and RMP frequently and at irregular intervals. Record all visits by writing name, time, and assignment in your digital activity log and sign the digital activity log of the uniform members you visited. First platoon specifics, just like the desk officer. Remember, first platoon, he or she verifies the daily vehicle assignment sheet. Patrol sergeant, first platoon, you will visit various locations at different times to see that uniform members are performing duties at all times. That line only applies if you're doing a midnight as the patrol sergeant. That is not a good duty for the day tour or 4 to 12 patrol supervisor. Report derelictions of duty to who? So you're a sergeant and you come across a dereliction of duty. Do you go to your boss, who's the platoon commander? Lieutenant? Nope. You break the chain of command and go right to the CO. Highlight, highlight, highlight. Review and sign officer profile report of your cops detective specialist monthly. Make required entries and deliver to who? Platoon commander for review by when? 5th day of the month for the previous month. It's going to your boss, the platoon commander, for review by the 5th day of the month. So if they give you a scenario on test day, you did what you had to do and you gave it to the lieutenant by the 3rd day, is that okay? Yes, that's okay, because the 3rd day is within the 5th day. All right? Don't let them confuse you on the wording. Next page. Keep Lieutenant Platoon Commander or Desk Officer notified of current matters of importance. Regarding matters of mutual importance, trends observed, confer with COXO, Ops Coordinator, Lieutenant Platoon Commander, Desk Officer, and NCO Sergeant. That's everybody. Look at this. Highlight. Notify the TSOP of your meal location and relieve Lieutenant Platoon Commander or Desk Officer for meal when designated. So look at that. You're a sergeant and you're notifying the TSOP of your meal location, who could be a civilian or it will be a cop, either a civilian or a cop. You notify them of your meal location. Call them up. Don't go over the radio and say, hey, I'm taking meal. Because now everybody on patrol knows the boss is out of service on meal and let's screw around, right? So you call up the TSOP. Submit to the CO in writing any recommendations for special assignment, detective designation, or change in assignment for members under supervision. Training Sergeant, next actor, 20221. A lot of this stuff, you can read it and you automatically know Training Sergeant would be the answer. So I'm going to just skim through the procedure a little bit. Go to the second bullet. Training sergeants assigned to precincts, districts, and PSAs are assigned to the Training Bureau. So they may only perform training duties as directed by who? The CO of command level training section. They cannot, highlight it, think in basket here, they cannot be used for any other admin positions. They can't relieve the desk, etc. They are assigned to the Training Bureau. Do not give them any other duties. Those in other than precinct, district, or PSA may perform duties as directed by their CO. Skip the next sub-bullet, go to the next bullet. Report to the desk officer at the start of the tour for entry in the command log as present for duty. I am just repeating this to reinforce. Sergeants, lieutenants, you go to the desk officer who makes the entry that you are present for duty. The desk officer, though, will sign themselves in as present for duty when they take over the desk. In commands without a desk officer, sign it in as directed by the CO. When reporting to the police academy or other training sites, wear either uniform, business attire, or civilian clothes as directed by the Training Bureau. Skip the next bullet and go down to the next one. Conduct roll call training regularly, and here is a good, easy test question to write. Not to exceed 25 minutes for all 3 platoons. Used to be different time frames for different platoons. They actually made it easier. Everybody now is not to exceed 25 minutes for all 3 platoons. Ensure that members not assigned to the 3 platoons receive similar training. So if you have the odd tours, 6 to 2s, etc., 1 to 9s, they have to receive the appropriate amount of training as the regular 3 platoons get. Prepare roll call messages daily to ensure steady flow of info. Commands that do not conduct roll call, schedule sessions at direction of the CO. Develop, implement, and maintain a comprehensive command-level training program that is suitable and responsive to the needs of the assigned MOS and addresses local command conditions. Attend training seminars on how to best train on topics selected by the training committee. If unable to attend, the CO will assign an appropriate alternate trainer. Confer frequently with who? COXO, members of community, command, uniform, and civilian supervisors, and training bureau to identify training needs, and attend community meetings at the direction of the CO. Next page. Skip down towards the third bottom part of the page. So let me just count the bullets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ninth bold bullet, but look at the sub bullet. Highlight. Supervise the maintenance of all command bulletin board pin maps. When I say pin maps, I automatically think of crime analysis sergeant, all right? But you right here will supervise the maintenance. This is your duty as a training sergeant. Skip down to the second to last bullet. You will maintain the command library. How many of you even know where the command library is in your command? I don't think I've ever seen, and I worked in citywide units, I don't think I've ever seen a command where there was a designated room that said command library on the outside. You know what the command library is? You go into your CO's office and there is a bookshelf with books. That's the command library. Training sergeant, you will maintain that command library. Next bullet. Highlight. Periodically review body-worn camera video. Periodically, not daily, not weekly, not monthly, not frequently. The word you need to know is periodically. Give positive feedback, address performance or tactical deficiencies, assess compliance with Patrol Guide Procedure 212.123, and take necessary action to correct deficiencies. Highlight the crap out of this last sub-bullet of page 38. You will prepare a monthly body-worn camera inspection report, and it goes to the Compliance Division's body-worn camera unit by the 20th of each month. So it's a monthly report, and they have to get it by the 20th of each month. Great test question. For numerous reasons. It's a monthly report. Body-worn camera is new. It's a hot topic, all right? Not just in the NYPD, police department, agencies throughout the nation. Time frame, 20th of each month. Please do not drop that question. Next page, 39. Traffic Safety Sergeant. Not really high on the list, but vehicle collisions are a hot topic. Traffic Safety Sergeants involved, so let's read their duties. Perform tours at the direction of the CO. Report to the desk officer for start of tour entry in the command log like all the other bosses and lieutenants, right? Supervise traffic safety officer and other members of the command as directed by the CO. Attend patrol borough traffic safety meetings with traffic safety officer. Ensure borough level training is attended by newly assigned precinct traffic safety officers. Do not let them switch that duty to the training sergeant. This is your duty as a traffic safety sergeant. Monitor and review all PARs. Review and analyze traffic intel reports. Supervise and review the precinct traffic safety plan and emergency plans A, B, and C, which we'll cover when we hit 213. Review prepared stats for traffic safety forum, which is traffic stat. Meetings and attend a meeting with your XO. Ensure maintenance and updating of the precinct traffic safety bulletin boards with current collision-prone locations, school, house of worship, crossings, and other traffic safety information. Be familiar with procedural manual for traffic safety officers. And the last thing regarding meetings. Attend patrol borough traffic safety meetings and community council and safety board meetings, other public forums to discuss traffic safety at the direction of the CO. Let's go to the next page. Even though I'm skipping DV Sergeant 20223, please read that on your own. Again, I have to prioritize. So we are on page 40, 20224. NCO Sergeant, Neighborhood Coordination Sergeant. All right, please know this actor just like you would the desk officer or patrol sergeant. New since the last exam. God, I can't see them not writing a question or two regarding the NCO Sergeant. Just like the other ones, report to the desk at the start of the tour for entry in the command log as present for duty. Report direct to who? CO. Whoa. You're a sergeant. What happened to the lieutenant? You're skipping right here, breaking the chain of command. Highlight. Report direct to the CO. Flexible tours in uniform as command conditions and community needs dictate. You may wear NCO breast bar above your shield, immediately below any unit citation or individual recognition awards for the duration of your tenure in the assignment as NCO Sergeant. Same duty word for word as NCO. And the next two are going to be the same as well. NCO Sergeants are not to be utilized as backfill for other precinct assignments like patrol, supervisor, desk officer, etc. Not to be assigned details during regular scheduled tours without permission of who? It's not the three wise men. All right? PC, Chief of Department, Bureau Chief concerned. Supervising NCOs. You will oversee the schedule for your NCOs and ensure tours are scheduled based on two things: sector conditions and community needs. Don't let them say sector conditions or community needs. Here is that word and, which I mentioned earlier, right? They switched to and to the or, and it's going to kill a lot of people on that question test day. NCOs assigned to the same sector will work the same tour unless one is assigned to court or on vacation. NCOs are not assigned to details during their regularly scheduled tour of duty. Remember the exception which we covered earlier. Monitor NCOs' effectiveness by determining success of crime reduction and problem-solving strategy. Level of engagement with other department units. Confer with community residents, business persons, etc. Next page. Use the neighborhood policing app to supervise and conduct neighborhood policing functions as applicable. Supervise and evaluate performance of all NCOs. Use the supervisor feedback form on the craft application to highlight commendable acts by NCOs and steady sector cops. Assist NCOs in identifying strategies to address sector conditions. Coordinate the activities of NCOs with other members of the command. Assist NCOs with activities involving other department units, government agencies, and community groups. Interactions with uniformed members of the service duties. Regularly confer with the CO, XO, SOL, almost everybody in the command. Platoon commander, squad commander, NCOs, to do what? To identify crime and quality of life conditions affecting the command. Assist the CO, just like you report directly to the CO. We're breaking the chain of command. Assist the CO in developing and implementing the precinct school safety plan. School safety plan, NCO Sergeant, okay? Evaluate and coordinate safe passage plan and safe corridor program. Look at this. Highlight. Keep SOL apprised. He or she didn't appear in this procedure at all. Now the SOL is appearing. Keep the SOL apprised of activities in and around schools and supervise the command's YCO, Youth Coordination Officer. Coordinate activities with precinct YCOs, liaison with DVPOs on cases involving child abuse, DVPOs, Domestic Violence Prevention Officer. Liaise with counterparts in housing if you're assigned to patrol, and patrol if you're assigned to housing, vice versa. Regularly confer with community leaders, residents, school principal and staff, school safety personnel, and business persons to identify crime and quality of life conditions affecting the command. Regularly confer with school safety division's field intelligence unit to develop command strategies to address school-related conditions and to coordinate command resources. Regularly visit schools and confer with principals and school safety division supervisors regarding school-related conditions. Respond. You're not the school safety sergeant. Respond to incidents where a school safety agent is a victim of an offense while performing duty. Respond to incidents where a school safety agent is the victim of an offense. That is your duty as the NCO sergeant. Coordinate with school safety people to provide necessary assistance in getting required additional resources. Coordinate with SSDs, truancy coordinator as necessary. Highlight this sub-bullet. Truants go back where? You're doing a truancy sweep. You get them where they're going. They're going back to their school. If it's close, if you're in Manhattan and you got some truants who reside and live in Staten Island, they go to school in Staten Island, but you came across them in Manhattan, we're not driving to Staten Island to take them back. All right? That could take more than a tour. So what do we do then if the school is not close? We are going to bring the truants to a borough-wide DOE, Department of Ed, determined intake site. Participate in community meetings, school activities, events, and neighborhood work groups. Maintain a master file for all sectors of all activity community groups, persons at the command. Maintain other unit records as necessary. Regarding training, liaise with borough or bureau to acquire training for NCOs as necessary. Assist with training of school safety personnel. Go to page 43. Look at this top of the page. PG 203 compliance with orders was now moved into Administrative Guide 30403. Here is where it says step 1 used to be. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of what it used to be, but this is one that I will bring out. It used to say, be familiar with the contents of the patrol guide. That was your out for study on job time, because the book is telling me to be familiar with, okay? Now, what does it say? Because they're moving procedures from the patrol guide to the admin guide, they had to revamp that. So now what it says is, be familiar with the contents of department manual. Not patrol guide. Department manual is made up of a few manuals, but for your test, the main two are the patrol guide and then the admin guide. We are going to tell you and go over the procedures you need to know. All right, so they changed that, which makes the admin guide part of your responsibilities now. So here we go with a procedure that used to be in the admin guide, in the patrol guide, is now moved to the admin guide. Borough Court Liaison, Lieutenant. This procedure that was in the patrol guide, I would never study, especially for a sergeant's exam, because this is a job of a lieutenant, except in Staten Island, because Staten Island is his own little world and it's a smaller borough. This is the duty, or this is the job of a sergeant. So in Staten Island, the Borough Court Liaison is a sergeant. Think about that. Throughout the whole job, how many people will have this job? One person. That's it. Staten Island. Everybody else, all the other patrol boroughs, will be a lieutenant. So will this guy or girl pop on your test when there's only going to be one person that has this job throughout the whole NYPD in the rank of sergeant? If I had a bet, I would say no. But could this procedure pop up? 100%. And I remember saying this in the last lieutenant's test. I wouldn't study this procedure if I was in your seat, because there's only a handful of people that will have this job. And what did they do on the last lieutenant's exam? They asked this procedure. Now that exam, without getting into detail, was run by I'm just going to say a lunatic was in charge of that exam. And I'm pretty sure they had plants in our classes saying, I wouldn't study that because this was asked. What are the chances that this was asked when I said specifically in class I wouldn't study it? Again, I'm going to roll, if I'm studying, I'm going to roll the dice. I'm not studying this procedure. You know what? If you're going to ask it, they can have that one question. Hopefully they don't ask it. For those guys and girls that are on the fence, should I study? Go right ahead if it's going to make you feel better. If I'm studying, I'm not studying this procedure. Again, that's me. You got to prioritize, and that's what I would do. Go to page 46. Yes, this is an admin guide procedure. 30317. Precinct, PSA, Transit District, Digital Communications Officer. It starts off by saying who the CO will designate. Don't even worry about that, all right? You're not doing the designation. But you need to know what the duties are, and I'm going to call it DCO, all right? Develop innovative and informative messaging with the goal of cultivating public engagement. Coordinate, highlight, circle, whatever. You as the DCO will coordinate with NCOs to gather information about community events and disseminate information on department social media accounts as appropriate. You will liaise with traffic safety officer and traffic safety sergeant and traffic management center and post road closures detours as appropriate. Liaise with crime prevention division on promoting crime prevention tips, public safety and awareness. During large scale emergencies, retweet department Twitter at NYPD News as directed. In-house duties. Definitely highlight the first one here. All right, social media is a big deal. This wasn't around as it was. It wasn't, I should say, it was around for the last exams, but this procedure was not around. So please know it. Operate and manage it's your duty as a DCO, all department social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, etc., under CO's direction. Ensure CO's name and current official portrait is in command's profile. Exceptions will be made by who? DCPI. Confer regularly with your CO regarding department social media accounts, posts, and get approval prior to posting. So they want you to get approval before you blast the post out there on social media. Comply with 20328, we'll cover that next week, which is social media policy, and 20721, which is corruption reporting, which is down the road in the complaint section. Those two procedures, corruption reporting, always on promotional exams. So make a note now, you need to know that. 20328, kind of new social media policy. I would definitely know that as well. Monitor department social media accounts frequently and be responsive to community concerns, questions, and issues raised on department social media platforms. Ensure information concerning the command is frequently updated on department's internal intranet and external website. Coordinate with members of the command and other authorized department social media account users. When do you do this? Regularly. In regards to posting relevant info and pictures of interest to department social media accounts. Next page. Regarding arrest or booking photos. Here, I think this is more important information. I would highlight the first bullet. MOS. So not just your DCOs. This applies to your DCO and all MOS. You are prohibited from disclosing arrest or booking photos on social media unless it serves a law enforcement purpose, including but not limited to releasing photos of wanted suspects. Post-arrest, you can release such photos limited to alert victims, witnesses, to facilitate criminal investigations. This limitation only applies to arrest or booking photos not to video or surveillance photos. Liaise and coordinate with DCPI to establish, maintain, train, message, and support social media account. Highlight. Obtain prior approval from who? DCPI, prior to changing passwords on department social media accounts. So let's stop right there. Passwords. We didn't cover this yet. It's going to come up in future lessons. Even though you didn't cover it, when you think of a password and you got to do something with your password, who do you think you would go to in the command? If you didn't study at all and you had a guess, because A, B, C, and D is what's going to be there, I would say ICO when it comes to passwords. And I'm sure most of you would agree with me on that. So please highlight this line. Let me read it again. Obtain approval from DCPI, not ICO, not CO, not XO, blah, blah, blah. Prior to changing password on department social media accounts. Coordinate and communicate with DCPI regarding changes and or updates to department intranet and external website. Review and post DCPI's request for media attention as directed by who? CO. Now, regarding request for media attention, confer with 4 people. DCPI, Detective Squad, Investigative Units, Crime Analysis Units to post requests for info regarding wanted missing flyers, other relevant info affecting public safety as the CO directs. Post wanted missing person flyers in compliance with DCPI, Detective Bureau, and any relevant procedures, including but not limited to formatting, wording, removal of posts after certain times, and updating the community in regards to individual arrests and or that are found. That is the last patrol guide procedure I'm going to cover today. So let me give you just a little bit more info before we conclude. And we will see you back for next week. You have questions in the back of this lesson and every lesson going forward. Please do them. When it comes to questions, questions are, the more questions you do, the better you will be. But let's do multiple choice questions. Train yourself now for test day, because on test day it's going to be multiple choice, A, B, C, and D. I don't believe in all these other types of questions. Fill in the blanks, true and false. You have choices A through Z. You're not going to see that on test day. So why train yourself for something you're not going to see? Train yourself for test day. Multiple choice. Do as many questions as you can. When you do the questions, whether you get them all right or all wrong, you need to take it as a learning experience. 100%, if you get a question wrong, and you should, and you will, if you get a question wrong, you need to know why you got it wrong. We explain in the answer explanation why A, B, C, or D is right or wrong. So you need to know why you got it wrong, why you dropped that question. And next thing is, you will never get it wrong again. When I would prepare for an exam, if I got a question wrong, I would make sure that if that question came up on test day, I wasn't getting that wrong again. All right? That's the way you got to be thinking when you take these questions. If they're hard, and they will be hard, some will be ground balls, and you'll say to yourself, wait a second, what am I missing here? They're just asking this, it seems so easy. Yeah, you're going to get those. Just circle in the answer and move on. Don't go back and second guess yourself, all right? You're going to get hard ones. It's going to make you think. It's going to challenge you. We are preparing you for test day. Do not get discouraged. Take it as a learning experience and know the procedure in and out, and don't get it wrong come test day, all right? Next week, we are going to be covering general regs. Please read the corresponding patrol guide and admin guide procedures that we will cover. You need to be prepared for class. This is the first week. You'll be like, oh, this is not much reading. It's going to start to get a lot, okay? You're going to have a lot of lesson plans in front of you, a lot of reading, and you're going to feel defeated. You're going to get discouraged. Do not. Remember, it's a marathon. Pace yourself. Together, we will bang the shit out of this test. Yes, we will. Together, remember what I said. Do it right the first time. You don't want to do this shit again and again and again. Waste money. Take time away from your family. Take time away from living life. Why waste time if you're not going to do it right the first time? If you're not going to study outside of just listening to this class or coming to class, best of luck. You know what? I'll see you in 4 years. And again, you're going to be wasting your time. Please, let's do it right the first time. And together, you will ace this exam. God bless you all. Please review. Be prepared for the next class. Enjoy your days off. But remember, you need to get that study time in. 2 to 3 hours every day. Every day means 7 days a week. Not business days, not work days, every day. And the reason I'm saying business days, work days, calendar days, because we're going to hit procedures that are specific. That say 5 business days, 5 calendar days, 5 work days. I'm making this up, but those numbers and that stuff's going to come up down the road. So train your brain and your mind to think like an examiner, and we will help you all the way to the end. See you for the next exam. Be safe out there, and thank you again for what you do day in and day out. God bless you all.